It's episode 333 on Canadian Patriot Podcast Days, January 24th. This is John McDonald with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I've got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. John went to SHOT Show. It's 9 o'clock Canadian, another day closer to victory, and for all of you out there on or behind the line, in post, I will edit in music.
And we'd love to hear your feedback about the show. So please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. Version of the show is available on Stitcher and iTunes.
We need your help to support the Canadian Patriot Podcast. Visit patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You can get a better quality version of the show for just $1 per episode. Show you're not a communist. Buy a CPP t-shirt for just $24.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com and always follow links on the right.
This brings us to my favorite segment. It's called Plausible Deniability via Alcohol. It's where I'm going to go around and ask everyone what they're drinking. And I feel like it would be remiss of me if I didn't start with our newest panelist, Peter. Thank you for joining the show. Peter, what are you drinking?
Starting with a Glenfiddich 15-year Scotch.
Ooh, the man has good taste in Scotch.
Yes.
What do you mean,
Bourbon is my jam, or rye.
Yeah, that's fair. Something to be
I have some of that
Scotch,
for later,
though.
too.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll
Alright.
save the Scotch thing till I'm older and more refined. Or just older, yeah.
There you go. What are you drinking, Gavin?
Wiser's and Diet Pepsi this evening.
Yes, don't have to change the show notes. Pierre, what are you drinking?
Canadian whiskey, and I've got Pepsi in this glass for now. But after that, it'll be straight whiskey.
Right on. I have beer from Black Swan Brewing. This is their English Pale Ale. It's quite good. Patriot Challenge. Reminding our listeners, do 5 things every day to be a better person, or at least make an effort to be a better person. Exercise for 45 minutes, practice a skill for 10 minutes, read a book for 15 minutes, drink 2 liters of water, and complete 1 task to improve your life. And if you're still on social media, you can get the template and you can share it. And if you have a podcast, you can get the template and share it and tag me and I'll comment, and then you can talk shit about me on your show.
Or you could just talk shit about him anyways. Yeah.
For upcoming events, and also for listener feedback, for upcoming events, National Range Day is happening. The CCFR is organizing a National Range Day, Saturday, June the 4th. The website has no details yet. The press release has not changed. So, Rod, have your people talk to my people. Let's sort something out. Actually, I did actually just renew my CCFR membership because January is my birth month and I renew all of my stuff around my birthday, all my like insurance and driver's license and fishing license and basically all of the licenses that I need to participate in the parts of society that I'm still allowed to participate in. But I also
Which
do
is
like all of
almost
the
nothing, yeah.
Well, when you have to beg the
Fishing.
crown for the opportunity to fish in your own lake.
Yeah. If it pleases the my crown.
Yeah.
So I renewed all of the things, including my CCFR membership, and I kicked them some cash because I want the neon sign, because I think neon signs would look great in my background.
Yes.
For our audio listeners, you should really check out the live stream on YouTube Monday nights, 9 o'clock Eastern time. What's that, 8 o'clock in Manitoba? Yeah.
Figured that out
Look at me
today.
knowing time zones.
If not, just Google what time it is in Eastern time.
Nine
and do the math.
Eastern. Yeah.
And just Google will tell you. It's all
Yeah.
Well, I mean, fair enough.
They
If
tell
you're
you a
not
lot of things, though.
hanging out on
Yeah.
YouTube, you should come and chat with us. We've got people in the comments section. At least some of them are agreeing with Peter's taste in Scotch.
Agreed.
See if we can
Can't
get more
confirm.
people on the Scotch train.
Let me guess. Chris is one of them.
It is not Chris, but that is
Oh.
a good guess, because if Chris were
If
there,
I-
I'm sure he would be agreeing.
No, actually, we have the 12-year-old upstairs, and I don't know if that's what she's drinking or she stole some of my whiskey, but my wife's agreeing with you, which I can't
Oh, there
confirm.
you go.
I agree.
Well,
But I don't disagree with her. If you actually in Ontario, at least, I don't know about any other province in Ontario or Canada, if you have a handicap parking pass, you automatically get a fishing license for free. So first time I meet you, Andrew, I'll bring a baseball bat. We'll take it to the kneecaps. You won't have to pay for fishing license.
That does not
My
seem
mom
like
has-
it works out in my favor.
Oh, see, Chris chimes in. He agrees. Wow. See, I was right. I was predicting the future.
Yeah, but yeah, in Ontario, if you have a handicap parking pass, you pretty much get a free pass on having to pay for a fishing license.
But I still have to get a
Veterans
license.
too.
I just don't get to
Veterans
pay
too,
for
I
it.
believe, enjoy
really?
getting a fishing license for free.
Well, I should have realized that before I filled out the form and gave them my money.
Well,
Yeah.
now you know for next time.
Well,
But
phooey.
you save a bit of money because you don't pay for handicap pass parking. My wife got one when she had her knee surgery and everything. We got a pass, and yeah, when they handed it to us, they were like, "Yeah, you can fish for free," and I was just like, "That's what you get for free for." Like, like you had knee surgery, you can't walk far, but you can go fishing. I was like,
Well, I mean,
I don't disagree. Like,
As an
sorry,
amateur-
sure, something.
as an amateur angler, I feel like fishing is not a very walking intense sport. Like, it's mostly sitting. Now, whether
Yeah,
that's
but-
sitting in a boat or sitting in a shack on the ice or sitting on the pier, like, I feel like it's conducive to not moving around a lot.
Yeah, but depending on where you want to go fish, can you
Well, I mean,
get there
that-
in crutches?
Now you want the government to start making sense.
Isn't that why we drink on Monday nights after 333 episodes?
Well,
I mean,
I will have another beer and tell you if the government starts to make sense.
Sounds good. I'll finish the one with Pepsi and I'll drink it straight and we can discuss it.
All right. We've also got listener feedback. This is actually in relation to the June National Range Day. This is from the letter J. I love this and would be interested in organizing one at my local gun range, but I'm not allowed into the facility due to refusing to show a Nazi vax card. Not sure if this is in every province, but here in Manitoba, it's pure tyranny. My daughter enjoyed her 3 years of junior rifle club, but she's no longer allowed to attend this valuable program. I will look for a group to go into the bush with because that's what we have to do these days. I'm feeling better prepared to defend ourselves and... Am I that drunk? I'm feeling better prepared to defend ourselves is extremely sadly and necessary in these times. Great job on the podcast, guys. I look forward to every episode. I feel like I should have spell checked this because it didn't sound right when I read it out loud.
You said better instead of being.
Ah, that's why it sounded funny. Thank you. It's not the writing, it's the reading.
yeah.
It's related to the beer.
Yes. In that Andrew hasn't had enough of it yet.
Sorry,
Yes.
sorry, Jay. I butchered the end of your email there. So Peter, as a fellow Manitoban, Manitobite.
Manitoban.
Manitobian.
I don't like being an ite.
I vote Manitobian.
I'm good with that
I'm not
too.
sure about the Nazi vax card stuff for ranges. Is that all ranges? Do you know, or is that like indoor recreational facility kind of ranges, like indoor ranges?
I don't think that there's been anything said publicly about it as far as coming from the government, but it might be that her specific range has decided to do that. The one that I go to is outdoor and only really available in the summer anyways, so I can't really speak to that.
Okay,
but-
no, that's fair.
It could be a case of boomers booming.
Well, it's a strong possibility that it's boomers booming because the boomer doomer did not remove them as we had maybe crossed our fingers for. At least in Ontario, which I realize is not Manitoba, and in some places in Ontario are much worse than most of Manitoba, like the part in Toronto. As a member of many ranges in Ontario, I'm not allowed to go into indoor ranges without showing my vaccine passports. So it's really cutting into my 2 indoor winter IPSC matches that I shoot a year. The one at the beginning of the year and the one at the end of the year. So I'm going to have to shoot a IPSC match in the summer this year, I guess. Because we are not having to show our vaccine passports to be outside, but I do need to show it to be on the indoor range or in the buildings in the clubhouse, which is really weird, like going to the washroom because I'm trying to find somebody to show my vaccine passport to so I can go take a look with the running plumbing.
You can use the washroom, it's fine. It's if you want to go inside to do anything else.
That is not what the sign at the door says.
Oh, well, they better fix that. Also, the weird thing, especially about our range, is there's no permanent range staff. So if I were to go to use the indoor range on my own, who do I show my pass to? Do I just wave it up at the camera, or?
As the person who looks at the camera, I can assure you that is a terrible idea.
Well, how do I comply with the law then?
That's a great question.
Get your QR code tattooed on your ass. And show the camera every time you come in.
Please do not show the camera that.
Especially now that you know who's watching.
I hate having
specifically.
The cameras at our range are such a pain in the ass to use. I hate having to look them up when something happens. It's like I'm like the only person on the board that's under like 50, so I'm like the only person that knows how to use
a computer in general.
It's the
They're
same
looking for the
with our
rewind
park
button
here.
on the VCR.
Oh man, I had to go through once recently and look up every plate of a car that came in or out on a specific day. So it was just like hold down the fast forward button until there was motion, stop, wait till there was a part where I could see the license plate, write it down, and then like hold the fast forward button down again. It took me all afternoon to watch one day's worth of videos and write down license plates. It was an awful experience. So in summary, please don't show your butthole to the camera.
You can start a range only fan page.
Only ranges? Only buttholes.
Only
I thought that was just regular OnlyFans.
Only starfishes.
I'd rather not. I guess Chris has got a different... I know he's a member in Ontario. He says his range is just like straight up closed till the end of the month. That must be a range-specific thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, right now, technically, all indoor recreational facilities are closed. But after that, they will continue to have to do the Vax Pass thing. And like everywhere else that has a Vax Pass mandate,
you know what? I think
it'll
right,
have to be
Gavin.
the QR thing.
I think you're right. I think right now our range is just no indoor.
Yeah, the indoor is closed. The outdoor is open.
Right.
There's no requirement for the outdoor. So if it's an indoor only range, it's closed. But after the 31st, when it opens again, you will be required to show your QR code because
right. So we're back in the state where we were before, where I couldn't use the indoor range.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So
Good.
you're
Makes
gonna have to
perfect
get the
sense.
app to check the thing for everyone that comes in, and
I will not be doing that.
Yeah. No.
Which is.
Good thing we're at day 8. Good thing we're at day 8 of the 2 weeks flatten the curve.
I don't know what to do about Jay though. I mean, I guess maybe go shooting in the woods anyway. I guess that day if your range isn't letting you shoot. I mean, the other thing is like June's still a long way off, and I don't know if your range is run by terrible people. Maybe overthrow them. I mean, that's why I'm on the board, because that way I get to do what I want. I don't always get my way, but at least like I get my way some of the time. I get my way a lot more as a board member than as not as a board member.
Yeah, and look into make sure that by law you're not doing anything. Last thing we need on the news is 40 people meeting up in the woods to support this National Range Day and be within some kind of non-compliance of a certain bylaw to be all over the news. That covered. To not help to not help that, but as long as it's 100% legal, like figure whatever you can out, get people out just to have a good time, and everybody that wants to go get someone who's never gone before and kind of wants to try it out and have a blast shooting guns all day. Can't go wrong with that.
Jay, if you don't know some spots to shoot, I have some excellent places to shoot that are basically like a gun range without the amenities. So hit me up.
You gotta pee in the woods?
I have a pail that I usually bring. It's really handy. I just cut the top off of it, so nothing
Nice.
stays in the pail, and you just sit on the
Yeah.
pail. There's a comfy little insulation. It's great.
Nice.
Super sanitary.
Whatever.
Oh.
Sounds good.
Manitoba sounds like fun.
Meh,
Beautiful.
I've done that. It works.
Yeah. I've done it.
It's better
Yeah.
than squatting against a tree. That's way too much work.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
fair. That's a lot of exercise, which is a
Yeah.
beautiful
Especially
segue.
Especially
No,
in
no,
June.
it's a segue.
when-
We're segueing.
It's a segue. New Shooter Canada has delicately placed the gauntlet in our path.
And challenge us to a pooping in the woods contest. Oh,
No, god damn it, not that. The other thing.
We're winning.
That's what
just
I
so
was
you
going
know.
for. Yeah, like that was a good segue. We built better toilets. I don't know.
sorry, I had to.
You didn't, but I appreciate it about you. So the most recent episode of New Shooter Canada, I think it was 231. I'm not the most religious New Shooter Canada listener. Sorry, guys. I think it was 231. It was the one that just came out. It was their New Year's resolutions one. So their panel of panelists. I feel like that's redundant, but
Yeah.
their
Allow
panel went
myself to
around.
introduce myself.
Yes. Their panel went around and they talked about their New Year's resolutions and they looked at their goals from the previous year and all of that good stuff. And one of the things that came up was a number of the people on their panel, Josh, Amanda, and Mike, I think it was.
Yeah.
A number of their panelists all had a good time with the Russell 4-day Ruck March, which I want to say that we really helped introduce that to Canada because I feel like most of Canada does not do the finish so good.
Yeah.
So
Reckons
not
the
that we do the
finish?
finish well either, but like we,
Yeah.
we're big in promoting that. And I think our team was the second largest international team last
Largest civilian and largest international.
year. Nice.
We
So-
were double large.
Yes.
A double
Yeah.
large.
Yeah.
So I feel like we should take some credit in helping promote that sort of fitness activity, which falls really into our
Yeah.
do 45 minutes of exercise thing.
Yeah. Or like almost 5 hours.
Yeah, or 5 hours. It's 45
Yeah.
minutes or 4.5
Okay.
hours.
Yeah. Same thing.
Same, but different.
Yeah.
Exactly. So New Shooter Canada, after their episode, has dropped a Facebook challenge, which Josh kindly posted in our Discord so I could see it. And they've got a 12-week Ruck plan challenge every week for the next 12 weeks, starting this week, starting on January the 23rd was the first day. So Sunday, yesterday at the time of recording, probably 2 days ago by the time most people are hearing this, because it'll be out Tuesday sometime when I get around to editing. 12 weeks of Ruck Challenge, and every week is a different amount of time, and you're going for as much distance as you can get in the allotted time with a 30-pound pack. Now, the instructions say a minimum of 25 to 30 pounds, but the plan says rucking with a 30-pound pack. So I'm just going with 30, but because I'm an overachiever, I'm going with at least 30, because you should never be late, light, or out of uniform. And
Or just-
unlike Pierre, I don't have ankle weights.
Yeah, just do like me. Just grab a bunch of shit, go for a walk, and weigh it after, and realize you're about
But
10 pounds.
what?
But
Yeah, but you were over, which is great. But what if you were 8 pounds
Yeah.
short?
Yeah. Well,
You would've had to
I
go
knew-
again.
I knew.
Get sent
I knew
home.
I would have been good.
Yeah.
Like I knew my vest was. I think my vest is just under the 25, and because my wife had surgery a year and a bit ago, she bought ankle weights for her physio, and I was like, well, I know those are like 10, 11 pounds, so I just threw it in the bag with the water, and I went for a walk. And then when I got home and weighed everything, I was like, oh shit, that's like weight.
I mean,
like,
if
not
you were
a lot
under-
more.
Yeah, if you were under, a Delta operator would have come out of the woods and weighed your pack and been like,
Yeah.
"This isn't."
Go sit over there and wait for the truck.
Yeah,
No,
this isn't heavy enough. Yeah, here's
Or
a giant
grab
rock.
this
to put
giant
there.
rock and you can continue your ruck, right? So yeah, like I mean, I was over, but not by crazy, but I was like, you know what? I was pleased with the time and the distance, and my 1P break, which is that stop I had, if you look on whatever. But I was like, hey, I'm good. I'm pleased with it. And yeah, keep going. I'm just going to keep going with the same weight, even though it's above. But if you
Well-
don't want to be above, yeah, weigh all your shit first. But the scale was
You've
dead,
already
so I was
done
like,
your you've already done your week one. So tell me about week one. What did you the first week was a 60-minute duration.
Yeah.
How far did you go in 60 minutes, Pierre?
5.6 kilometers.
Nice.
With I didn't weigh, so I brought a camel pack with me, as well as a very small first aid kit in case I decided to twist my ankle, I could wrap it up and get home. And then the water line froze on me. So I would say I was probably around the 40 to 42 mark, but I didn't weigh the water because I was like, well, that's not really fair. I was planning to drink it. So I had over 37 pounds. I walked to an area where I'm like, I know I have solid cell reception. Hit the start button, set a 30-minute timer, started walking, listening to a podcast. And when that timer went off, I crossed the street, hit reset, and walked back. And yeah, no, it was nice. Out where I live, I figured yesterday was the best day due to weather and crazy cold weather. My feet my feet can't handle the cold for medical reasons. So I was like, you know what? I got home, just like changed my socks, grabbed everything, walked out the door with a reflective vest because there's no street lights on, let's say, 5 kilometers of everything I walked. Yeah, it was nice. Hoping to get my wife out with me to do the same. She might not do it with the weight because of still recovering from surgery, but yeah, no, it was nice.
She carries the burden of just being with you, right? That's
That's punishment enough.
Why do you think I got away from the I was able to get on the podcast last week, even though it was her birthday, right? She was like, I get an hour without you, just go.
That was your gift
right there. Yeah.
That was her gift. That was my gift to her. I was going
Yeah.
to be busy with an hour and a half getting drunk with other people.
There you go.
Yeah, no, but it was good. Yeah, no, I'm happy to get in it. I'm hoping to do another 1 or 2 walks this week on top of the weekly thing, get back into a regular routine. And yeah, no, it was nice. It was good to get out. It wasn't too cold. Had lots of icicles in the beard, but it was nice. It was good.
It was a nice picture.
Going. Yeah. Yeah. I afterwards I posted everything and I looked and I'm like, wow, there's actually like a giant icicle on one of my mustache hairs. I was like, oof. But yeah, no, it was good. I strongly recommend it. Called out a few people I work with, a few people I know outside of work, and said, hey, you doing this? Like, weather's going to be nice in a few days. You know, if you need something, let me know. I've got some stuff here, and do it, get a few people more into walking around with some weights. So if that time ever comes, I know whether I can depend on them to help me out or have a cheaper solution that's about this big for them.
Gavin,
My wife and I will be doing it together this week yet.
Oh yeah, you're gonna do it, Pierre?
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
I was telling Gavin before the show, I'm upset because my new pack's not going to make it in time for the first week, but I'll struggle with the garbage I have, and it'll be fine. It's only an hour.
Only an hour.
Yeah, it's only an hour.
less
It's
than
not
hunting
that
trips.
crazy. Yeah.
Well, I think
It's not-
so I don't hunt, right? I shoot the elusive paper target. But I think as like looking at the fitness of hunting part, having to like drag animals out of the forest or having to get to your tree stand with your whatever your things are that you need for the day, your rifle and your whiskey and your coffee and your lunch, whatever else you take with you to sit in your tree stand. I feel like this seems like a good
And a first aid
opportunity.
kit.
Yeah.
Well, I said whiskey.
Yeah.
Splash that on. It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a multi-purpose item. It's a disinfectant and makes you clean on the inside and on the outside.
So also a recommendation, if you bring a camel pack with you, and when I started my walk, I didn't want to sweat too much, so I left the hose that goes over the shoulder exposed to the cold, and about 20 minutes later it was frozen because it was water. But if you put
Yeah.
a bunch of whiskey in there,
Yeah,
it
You
won't
don't even
freeze.
put that much whiskey in it.
just a little bit, depending on how cold it is.
Why would you not want to drink a liter of whiskey while going for a walk?
I mean,
I'd like to make it home.
I might get lost.
it would be for science. I think we might need to try something like that at one point, just like to compare, like, what is our distance in an hour sober versus what is our distance with just like no weight, nothing, but just a liter of whiskey that we drink as we go.
So
Maybe
next
not
You have
week,
to have a
but
hard
like-
hat with the 2 beers on top,
Yeah.
and you have to refill it every 10 minutes.
next
Challenge
week
accepted.
we will all do remote podcasts, and we're all going to do the hour walk with liter whiskey.
I'm not sure about that, man. But so
That would
Peter,
be funny.
Challenge accepted.
you and your wife are going to get in on this. You're going to get out and do the 12 weeks.
Yeah, like same as Pierre. I don't think she's gonna do any weight, at least to start. But we're gonna go and find some trails and go for a walk. It'll be good.
Beautiful. Gotta like
I
getting out
mean,
in nature.
Like
And it's
we've said-
Manitoba. I'm sure there's lots of
Yeah.
trails.
It's all nature. But like we've said on the show before,
yeah, I
like,
have to
this is
walk
the
half a
great
block.
thing about rucking is that you can adjust the distance and the weight to sort of cater to your fitness level and everything, and like increase one or the other or both as you get better at it. It's a great
Mhm.
thing like that.
And
Like
and even your time, right? If you can only do half-hour increments, but you do it twice a week, and then the
Well,
following week, just add 5 minutes.
And
Every
credit to
week you add
whoever
5.
New Shooter Canada hired to come up with their training plan, because I actually really
Yeah.
like this progressive, not progressive thing that they've done.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
not just every week gets longer. It's like an hour 15, an hour and a half, 45 minutes. Hour and a half. What's 105? That's like an hour and
130, 145.
3/4.
That's hour 45.
Yeah.
Yeah, an hour 45.
2 hours and then back down to an hour. And I really like this like progressive
Well, it
with
gives
the
you like
deload
a
week.
yeah.
I mean,
gives
it's
you
not a
that-
deload because you're not taking the weight off it, but it's like that reduction in time.
Yeah, it gives you some more recovery time for the next sort of big jump.
Well, and
Yeah.
I want to go back to the next big jump, but first I want to hear about Gavin's adventure because you did your first week too, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was good. I've got a nice like paved trail right behind my house, which is super convenient for things like this. I can get about 10K on it if I do the full loop, which is really nice. So, I just put my headphones in, put my backpack on, and just sort of walk down this trail, kind of like Pierre. Like I went half an hour one way, turned around, came back.
Yeah.
Almost to the second I was right in front of my house again. So, I only had to walk like maybe 2 or 3 houses past mine. And that's probably just because some timing, because I've got to cross, 2 or 3 roads along the way for some cars. But yeah, I've got a sandbag that I put in my pack that I picked up, which makes it super easy because it's just convenient. It fills a good chunk of the pack, so it doesn't shift around a whole lot. Unlike if you just take like a 25-pound weight and throw it in the bottom of your bag, it's like that is not a great way to carry the load. Also, I took the time before when we went on our little 14K the other day to readjust my pack, because it was really close to right, but not quite right.
Mm-hmm.
So like at the end of our 25, when I wore it last, I was like, it's starting to get kind of But then on the 14, not that I had a whole lot of weight when we went and just did that 14, because it was like water and extra clothes and some food and some whiskey.
Water. Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where I had the same problem that Pierre did, where my Camelback froze, so I was stuck drinking just the whiskey, which is why I always pre-hydrate before I go on a hike. That's super important. Yeah, it was good. I mean, I just put my
I also
my
crushed a
headphones
beer in the parking lot.
put my headphones on and just listened to my book and went for a walk. It was good
Nice.
times.
I'm impressed that you guys listen to podcasts and books when you're rucking, because I I would really like to use the time to listen to a book or to listen to a podcast, because I usually listen to a book when I walk the dog, listen to a podcast when I walk the dog, whatever, right?
Yeah. But
I
That's half the reason I go.
I can't keep the tempo that I want if I'm listening to something, like if I'm like passively absorbing information. 'Cause I went out.
but you can also moderate on your podcast, not so much as a very informative one, as much as a semi sort of entertaining one.
Well, and that's
Yeah,
so like
where
I'm,
if you-
I don't know.
if you
I
zone out-
struggle with that because I listen to a lot of political stuff, right? And I listen to a lot of news.
so I think that's the thing. So, I put on the third book in the Matthew Bracken Enemies series trilogy. So like it's one of those things where like if I miss a sentence or two, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
If I were to put on something that I was supposed to actually be like retaining information from, that would not have been a good thing, and I would have put music. But like you're saying, like so you got, I don't know, roughly a kilometer more than I did. But like when I've done these before and I've had like music and like, you know, heavy metal, my tempo is a lot faster.
Yeah.
Because it just lets you power down and do that, right? Like it's a
Well, and I mean, part of this, I wanted to post a strong first week because I felt that the new shooter people, I did not mean to call out in like an aggressive or abrasive way, but maybe they took it in a more of a challenging way than I meant to. Because I was just excited that they were like posting the Patriot Challenge stuff, and like they got excited about rucking, and I was like, this is great. More people like me. Perfect. And then they were like, well, not only are we going to do this, we are going to gingerly place the gauntlet in front of you, and you must do this thing. Otherwise, what did their post say? That they know some other podcasts that they think might be game. And it's like, make sure you spell my name right on the trophy. I'm not just game. I am now going to win.
Of course I know him. He's me.
Here's a quote. I know there are other like-minded podcasts that enjoy such things. Let's see if they are game.
And I took that personally.
As you should, because I think it was directed directly at us, to be redundant once again.
Well, I don't think it was directed at Slamfire.
No.
Although maybe it was directed at Modern Rifleman Radio. Love you, Brian. Miss you. Bring back your show.
Yeah. He's too busy cycling.
A recommendation, Gavin, next time you go for a ruck and your tube frees up, wife recommended maybe bringing a hand warmer and kind of wrapping it around the nozzle where it gets frozen, right? Because the bag was fine, the hose was fine, just the nozzle. But
I also recommend wrapping a hand warmer around the hose. It will keep things toasty.
Definitely, Yeah, I just used my Nalgene this time around because my goal was to get my 45 minutes of exercise, crank out my reading, and drink my 2 liters of water all in one go because I'm efficient like that, and I did it.
Well, if you can be anything, you should be efficient.
Yes. But yeah, so I'm going to try that next walk, is put a hand warmer around the hose.
And one around his now around his
and around the camelback.
And one on the camelback too. There we go. Perfect. So because of the excitement around this and other podcasts getting involved and our very active Discord community, which if you're not participating in our Discord community, maybe you want to fix yourself and come and hang out with other cool people. We've also started a Strava Club. Strava is an exercise app that I think is geared mostly towards cyclists. I'm not really about the spandex stuff, so runners too. But
except for your 2 IPSC matches a year.
Well, except for my 2 IPSC matches a year, but I mean that's just because that's the rules.
Yeah,
the shorts, not spandex.
Well, I mean, like
he's got to make it his
belt
own.
Loops.
Yeah, he should get some sewn onto a pair just for that.
I'd really rather not. Really rather not. So we started the Strava Club. Keeping in the traditions of the Rasul 4-day march, if you look on Strava for Ragnarok, like Ragnarok, which no one spells right anyway, anytime I'm on the phone talking to anyone about my company. But if you go look for Ragnarok, or follow the link in the show notes, join our Strava Club, which is now larger than my work Strava Club for the 500 employee corporation I work for that has like an actual running club. Team Ragnarok is now larger than that. So way to go,
there's
guys.
a reason why we had the largest civilian team for the Resul March.
Which I think is awesome. It just blows me away that people are like, you know what? Not only do I want to listen to this guy, I want to see how far he can rock.
Yeah, and possibly do the same.
Yeah.
So
With weight. Yeah.
Yeah. Alternatively, I think New Shooter Canada wants you to post your results on their Facebook page. I can't do that. If you're on Facebook, I mean, you have to ask yourself some questions like, why are you on Facebook? But it's also an option. If you are going to use something that Big Brother is tracking, Strava, so we can at least hang out and be friends. And
so we can all get tracked together.
Posts.
Yeah,
that's right.
So if you get abducted by helicopters, hit the start button on the Strava app.
Yeah, it go real fast.
And we'll know where they drop you off.
Well, it also has the handy like feature where you can notify 3 of your friends where you are at all times.
I didn't notice that yet.
Well, that's why I know where Gavin is. I know where Gavin is all the time.
Yeah, we're actually the same person.
I mean, it's not far from the truth. Also, I can unlock Gavin's iPhone. Upcoming other events in the same vein, though. Fingers crossed, keeping to tradition, the Veristreleka Remote Military March, if they do it this year, will be the end of April like it's been the last 2 years, which will be great, because that means there's an off week from the New Shooter Canada Challenge, and then it's the weekend for the Veristreleka Remote Military March, which the last 2 years has been 25 or 50K. I don't think you're going to get 25K in the... I think the longest block the New Shooter Canada has is 2.5 hours.
No, 2.
2.5.
No, their biggest one is 120 minutes. It's only 2 hours.
150.
I thought it was 150.
Yeah, 150 is one of them. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. It's the second last.
Sorry.
Week 11.
Yeah, week 11. Yeah, no, I saw that as
it goes up and then down.
I've whiskey.
Well, but again, I think their deload schedule on this is fantastic because it's like 2 hours for 3 weeks, and then an hour and 15 minutes, and then like there could be an off week, depending on like how late in the week you are on this.
Yeah.
So there's the 75-minute week, possibly an off week, and then if Veristreleka does theirs the same weekend they've done it the last 2 years, 25 or 50K Veristreleka March, which lighter weight, longer distance, and it'll be a longer time as a result. But you'll be in great shape to do it, which I think is going to be awesome because I'm gonna
call it right now. Even if they don't organize one, we should just do it anyways.
We should definitely use their name and branding, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
And gently place the gauntlet in front of New Shooter this time.
Well, I might have not so gently sent an email earlier today. I didn't plan this out very well because I had a pretty slack weekend. I was doing some family stuff and I was not really in my office on the computer, and I should have probably sent them some more notice. But I did invite the New Shooter Canada people to come and participate in this evening's panel, since I knew we'd be talking quite a bit about rucking and their newfound love of rucking and my love of their love of rucking.
It's art imitating life, imitating art.
Well, I'm at this point, we're just going for the redundancy.
Yeah.
So I think this is great. Get everybody in shape, and I think Gavin, are we gonna do Recon Division this year for the Veristreleka March? Are we gonna camp out?
I would really like to, and I spent the whole day getting super autistic about this, and I mapped all of the parking and all of the camping spots along the Bruce Trail. So
yes, so Gavin and I are sleeping out overnight in a tarp. Perfect.
I really want to do something like that because I really, for Resul, I want to do 100 kilometers in the 4 days. Whether I
Master
have,
Marcher.
I know that's a really ambitious thing, and I want to, like, even if I don't do weight, if I can just do the distance, I would be happy with that. But I think a good way to try this is to do the 25, camp out and do 25 and get for 50 and see how I feel at the end of 2 days, and whether like doing that for 4 days is even.
Buddy, I
thing.
am so ready to let's do the recon division at the end of April. Let's go camp out under the stars. We can sing Kumbaya and drink whiskey. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, I am all for it. Whether they do it officially or not, I think we should just do that because I think it would be fun.
Yeah, I'm almost tempted to drive down to the bigger butthole for that.
Well, it'll be like we'll be north of there, in the nicer parts of the Bruce Trail.
We're going to be near the tramp stamp.
Yeah, we'll be between the tramp stamp and the Klingons.
So I did send an email to New Shooter Canada, so hopefully they're on board with this. I gave them some feedback about their show. If they'd like to come on, they are of course more than welcome to come and hang out with us. I just didn't give them enough notice.
I asked you like 2 hours ago. That's like no notice at all. What's so hard?
But you asked me. I asked that. It was a very different. My people had to talk to their people. Rod, we had to reschedule again. Rod, I mean, Rod's administrative assistant is immensely patient, though, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's amazing that she still takes your calls.
Well, I mean, I keep changing my number, so no matter how many times she blocks me.
You never know. It could be Justin Trudeau, right?
Could be. Shall we talk about SHOT Show?
Yeah.
SHOT Show.
All right. SHOT Show. Also, the same week as the Concrete Show in
World of
Las
Concrete.
Vegas.
Yeah. Which sadly I was not in attendance for either of those this year.
Yeah, it's entertaining that Gavin can do both of them, but in any event, big things from
1 year
SHOT
ABN
Show?
too. Yeah, SHOT Show.
Anything particularly that tickled your gentleman's fancy?
I mean, there were some interesting things. I guess one of the biggest things this year, just sort of like as a general thing, not getting into the specifics of what it was, but this year was the first year that they split it amongst 2 venues. So that was kind of a big deal for them. Also, the whole
but Boner Killer,
thing,
a bunch of people didn't show up, so did they really need 2 venues?
Well, and that's kind of what I was going to make my next point was that, like, looking at all of the, like, some of the parties still look like they were off the hook, as the kids say, but like the show at times looked very empty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so yeah, moving to a bigger venue and splitting it, and then the Rona on top of it and all the other things, because it looked like, you had to wear a mask and do all of the stupid things. So that, and a lot of international people didn't make it because of whatever restrictions traveling internationally. So, I mean, it probably would have been a really cool year to go because you would have actually got to see a lot of stuff because there wouldn't have been like crowds you had to fight through, but also Yeah.
No, I mean, I've never been invited, probably can't make it, but from what I've seen, it looks like a fucking cool ass place. And from the videos I've seen as well of people that went, a few people on YouTube, or no, not YouTube, Instagrams posting stuff about there. Yeah, it didn't look as busy as I've seen previous years, but looks like a good time going down to Vegas to touch a bunch of gun stuff.
I mean,
it's a good time.
It is a good time, but I mean, the social community party aspect of it is almost, I would say that's actually better than the show part of it.
Yeah, unless you're like you're actually going there to do business.
Even if you are going there, the only reason that I see to go do business is if you're like gonna get, and because I got the
Yeah.
emails from a couple of vendors that we work with at Ragnarok Tactical, they're like, come see us at SHOT Show because we have X number of discount for in-person orders. And it's like,
Yeah.
if I was gonna order like 10 grand worth of nylon stuff,
Yeah.
I could see that, but like
For the big,
I don't need to go
business
look at the
people,
new Spiritus stuff in the Spiritus booth because I've already got emails from my rep saying like this is the new Spiritus stuff.
Yeah.
Not that we can get Spiritus stuff in Canada, although I'm coming for you. I'm
We
working
can make
on
that
it.
happen.
Well, I know we can make it happen, but it's a quantity availability
Yeah.
issue because the last thing I need is another 100 SKUs of the same thing in 15
Yeah.
different colors.
Well, I mean, the nice thing is they almost never have anything available, anyways. But like, yeah.
And we're never hearing from the Spiritus rep ever again.
No, it's cool. They actually make stickers that they sell that say that it's out of stock. They're in on the joke as well. But like, yeah, unless you're going there to like place in-person orders of the new hotness, actually being there isn't
cool
really
to
a
walk around,
thing.
but it's not anything.
It's the social interacting
It's the
with
social
your
stuff.
colleagues and peers that is, at least for me, the really fun part. And I think for
I-
me, that's
I
a lot
could-
of even like actual trade shows I go to for my real job. It's the after hours camaraderie and building those relationships that you get outside of the actual show that are the most valuable, even as a business person that is placing in-person orders at shows and stuff like that, and seeing the new hotness is the more valuable part. But
How much concrete does one man need to order at the World of Concrete show? That's the real.
Well, as a bricklayer, I follow it more for like the Spec Mix 500 stuff, which is basically a race of bricklayers to see who can lay the most in an hour. And it's a great time. 760 bricks in 1 hour. 760. Impressive.
Seems like a lot.
well, that and when was it?
I'd buy one of those if I owned a bricklayer company. I would buy one of those.
And when is it? Makita that came out with that rebar tying machine. They had a contest of who
they
could
all
tie
have
them
them
up.
now.
Well, I think it was like this was like God.
3 years ago.
No, a little bit more than that, but they came out with one, and I think they were the first one. It was one of the big tool guys, and they had it, and that was a big thing at their booth. Was like guys were having a contest to see who could tie the most rebar in an allotted period of time. So like stuff like that happens at the concrete show, and it can be fun.
Unbelievable.
And
It's
And, I mean-
unbelievable how fast those things are.
yeah, well, and just the stuff that they can do with concrete. I mean, I think I've said it before, but like some of that polished concrete and the pattern stuff, like you're like, this looks exactly like a wood floor. Like I'm down on my knees feeling it, and like the texture feels right, the coloring is right,
Yeah.
everything. You're like,
Yeah, with
but
the
this is
stamp stuff.
concrete. Yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
this is concrete.
Stamp stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's unreal.
I saw a
The
bunch of
Mc-
Milwaukee stuff on Instagram though. They got that
Don't
concrete.
tease me with Milwaukee.
That's gonna
See
be a
what,
whole
so what
other
happens
But, like-
episode.
in the tool?
Yeah, the tool stuff, right? Like they got the concrete breaker and everything, but it's all the battery stuff, like the quick cut and everything. I don't know the reviews or anything,
Yeah.
but like that stuff just looks cool because it doesn't require mixed gas, which can.
I'm gonna
be
get me a
confusing.
battery powered quick cut. I can't wait.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
look, we'll talk after the show.
Sounds good.
Oh boy.
What's interesting about the tool stuff, like Makita is not always, often one of the first to come out with like new tools. They have 250 or something crazy different tools. And then Milwaukee comes and just takes the ones they like and they make them awesome. That's basically what happens.
I will say this though, at the Louisville Garden Expo that I also go to, the Makita booth always has one of their bikini models in the booth signing calendar. So just saying.
Extra
So
points, I
does
guess.
KDEX. I can't afford those either.
Yeah. Although this year the KDEX page, I don't think they were there.
What?
Yeah.
This is
It's the
deeply
Rona.
upsetting.
And if they were there, they would have been wearing masks, which I mean, maybe for some of them was a good thing, but like,
Pros and cons.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess less concrete, more guns.
Yep.
Unless our listeners
Good
are
with
really into concrete, which I mean, maybe there's a lot of bricklayers that listen. I know there's at least
Right.
2 now. So best things
Who's
about
the
SHOT
other
Show?
one?
I know a guy.
Okay. We'll talk.
Best things at SHOT Show, things that you were super excited about at SHOT Show. Should I just read Marty's list of things from SHOT Show?
Yeah, I mean, I think his list is pretty much
Pretty good.
all of the things that we're all interested in.
Okay, so Marty's not here. Marty sent me his crib sheet here.
Yeah.
Eotech red dot for a pistol. The Eotech FLX. Mini reflex sight. Super cool looking. It's a mini red dot. It's a 1 MOA dot. It looks cool. It's an Eotech that you put on a pistol.
What's the price range? I didn't click on this link. Does it have a price range, or at least
$400 US.
$400
That's not bad for an Eotech, man.
No, I know it's not bad
and
for
like
an
an
Eotech.
RMR.
Okay,
I mean, that's
so I
for
don't have a
quality
pistol,
mini red dot. That's market price.
right? So I don't have a pistol, but like, what's a give or take red dot for a pistol of maybe not Eotech name brand quality? Go for it.
What's a Delta Point Pro? 400?
I mean, you could probably get like
450. 450. Leopold Delta Point Pro goes for 450 US.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not far off. Like, to me, that sounds
Yeah,
a lot
this
for a
is-
pistol, but I don't know anything about optics for
I
pistols.
would say like
because I don't have one, right?
This is that sweet spot where you're competing with all of. I mean, not that Eotech isn't a well-known name, but like you're in there with
Yeah.
all of the well-known brands for a reasonable price for a red dot for a pistol, because it's like they go up from here. Like an actual Trigicon RMR is
Oh,
pretty
jeez.
expensive. But then like you can start getting into like some of the Vortex stuff that'll be a little bit less money, and not to shit on Vortex, because I think for the money they make some really great products, especially in like their rifle scopes. But when it comes to their pistol optics, I have one, I've used it, it works.
It's in the chat.
I prefer other brands for pistol optics.
The Trigicon RMR has a very wide price point, I think. And I think...
Well, there's a few different ones.
Well, that's the thing, is like you can get like a Trigicon for 400, or you can get a Trigicon for like 850. And there's a variety in there.
Yeah, size of the dot, the quality of the construction. I mean, right now...
I know, but they call them all RMR, and it's very confusing
Yeah.
for me as a non-Trigicon person.
Yeah.
The Vortex goes for $350 US is the MSRP on those.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay, so
Like, I don't know, 400 for a 3 or 6 MOA dot from Eotech in a
is
pistol RMR package. Very appealing. Very appealing.
I would like to see one in person and see what it's like, but for me still, I think that the best bang for a buck is with the HoloSun. They came out with a new one too, that's got a slightly slimmer profile, so if you're sticking it on...
I have this whole thing with HoloSun. I want my optics to work.
I was the same, but then a bunch of my buddies in the US that play guns way more than I do started using them and using them on their carry guns. So I figured I'd give one a try.
Okay.
And like, I would say absolutely, like 5 years ago, hell no. But their new ones in the last year or two have been crazy reliable, and like everyone is switching to them. Because like a bunch of the other companies like Trigicon and some of the others have kind of just sat on their laurels doing nothing and just like, yeah, we make the best, and not upgrading the technology or anything and making it better. And now these guys have like, it's still maybe not the best.
Okay.
But
okay. I'll say I will stop saying unkind things about HoloSun until I know better. Because you know what?
Yeah.
I can tell you exactly how many rounds of 9mm you can shoot through a Glock 17 before your Vortex Venom dies, and you have to take it to the Vortex guy and get it replaced. But you know what?
How much?
They know it's going to fail after 937 rounds, and they're going to give me a new one.
It's true. I'm very much enjoying the two Hollow Sun optics I have on guns that
Okay.
have
Are you still allowed to
1,000
use
rounds.
those guns?
Yeah, they're on pistols. I'm still
Okay.
they're
I just wanted to clarify for the listeners that they haven't.
but
been
I
sitting on
would
the
I
shelf
would
for 2 years.
I am a big Eotech fan, so I would love to try one of these and see.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as a big Eotech fan, did you see the Voodoo change that they came out with?
Yes, I also I when it comes to rifle scopes, I really like the Vortex ones because I think they're good bang for the buck. But I would very much like to get a Voodoo and put it on a gun because there's some really cool things about them.
Yeah, this Voodoo, this gives me a little bit of wood here. 1 to 10 by 28, first focal plane, 18 US.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Yes.
that's a slick little optic.
yeah.
1 to 10 by 28, first focal plane for 18 US.
Well, and that
I-
like that LPVO
Well, and
thing is
yeah,
becoming
is
a
it
huge.
still an LPVO if it goes to 10, or is
Like,
it only
it's
when it
in
goes
that-
to 11?
Yeah, I think it's once you get to 11, but like it's in that like it's got that one, so like it is what
true,
it is.
true one.
Yeah, and that's a big, especially in the US. It seems like that range is blowing up, like a 1 to 6, a 1 to 8, or whatever, and like just being able to go.
I'm really impressed with a 1 to 10 in that footprint, in that package at $1,800. First focal plane. They went with a big tube on it. It's a 34 millimeter tube, which is that's a large diameter tube. Usually it's 1 inch or 30 millimeter, right?
Yeah,
So,
but
like-
that's good though. More light passing through. So
No, I
like,
think it's a great thing.
Shooting
I
at
have
lower
no-
light, it's going to be good. Like, I mean, yeah, it's going to be a slightly bigger footprint and everything, but like, really, like, it's not going to make a huge difference on your gun. It's not going to be a whole lot heavier.
I don't know. Something if I had a reason to run a low power variable optic on a carbine, this is appealing.
And there's some
Even for a
great,
22, that's great.
yeah,
yeah.
No, I
Like,
think they're a fantastic
you
choice.
could slap that thing on almost anything, and it would
Yeah.
be like a hunting rifle, like a competitive gun, like almost anything, and it would do the thing. And like right out of the box, it comes with some nice stuff. You know, like some of the others, like Vortex, they don't have like the throw lever, and you got to spend like an extra $90 if you want it. I'm pretty sure all the Voodoos come with one built in
Yeah, it's integrated in the Voodoo.
and all that. Like, and it's a stupid thing, but like, fuck man, some of those Vortex, like when you're trying to change that magnification, like it is.
Yeah, it's nice to have that cattail on there to get it to spin.
Just a little something to like make it easier. Like competitively, like that's a huge thing because you're like, ooh, whoa, I am way too zoomed in or out. Like, I need to fix this quickly, and just having that to get that leverage to do it quickly and easily is awesome.
I mean, real quick, things for competitive. I don't think there's a lot of other point here, but the new Angst Arms MDP9. I'm excited. I don't have 2,700 US to drop on one of these, but a 9mm PDW style firearm that takes Glock mags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This seems to be kind of a cool thing that's happening now, is these little sub guns. Like D&T's got
looks
one.
kind of like an AR, but it's not an AR because it's a different receiver and there's no integrated buffer tube.
Yeah. It's kind of like an MPX, but even that's not quite the same. Like, I mean, Angst made a really sweet, like 7-inch 9mm AR that was really fun to shoot.
Yeah, it was like the UDT or the
Yeah.
UDR. I forget what their other one was, but the big difference with the MPD9, which is not
Yeah.
Angst's first 9mm subgun type gun.
No,
It's
but
a
it's not an
roller
AR.
delayed-
It's
Roller delayed blowback.
so like
roller
an
delayed rather than
MP5, but
blowback.
not an MP5.
Yeah, the whole like roller delayed 9mm.
Yeah.
I can justify $2,700 for a 9mm gun that, roller blow instead of blowback.
Well, but
that's a
that's,
way
like-
better design.
So for people that have been inebriated by Canadian whiskey, what does that mean compared to blowback? Without
Roller
having to
delayed
Google.
blowback works in a different way. So your normal 9mm blowback AR,
Yeah.
basically like a pistol, right?
Yeah,
Fire
I
the
get
gun,
that. You shoot
There's the regular
and the
gas
weight,
tube.
yeah.
Some of the gas is siphoned off. It cycles the action. There's a buffer assembly, and it in most of the platforms it works the same way as a regular AR-15. So there's a
Yeah.
buffer tube with a buffer spring and a buffer in it, and the bolt comes back and it cycles into the buffer tube, and the next round gets popped up out of the magazine. The roller delayed blowback uses rollers and is delayed mechanically instead of using the gas tube system.
Yeah.
So you're not forcing hot gas from the expended round back into the action to operate the moving parts. It also uses a different bolt system, so there's no external buffer. The buffer is inside of the receiver.
Yeah, so basically the gun goes bang and all of that pressure starts moving a mechanism that as it sort of rolls will eventually get to a point where it then mechanically unlocks the action to push it back.
I think the probably most popular example of this is the MP5.
Yeah.
The MP5 is probably the like most commonly thought of roller delayed blowback.
Yeah.
So nothing that we could, say that a Canadian has used or
Well,
civilian Canadian has used in a
I
while.
think the reason I'm excited about this is it's not an AR, but it looks like an AR and it functions like an AR. Well, I shouldn't say it functions like. The manual of arms would be similar to a 9mm AR,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's not an AR,
Yeah.
and it uses a different operating principle.
It's not the straight blowback system where, like, I get it. I was just curious because I was like, I'm
these
semi
little,
sort of new-ish into the gun thing, so I'm like, sometimes you guys get a little too autistic.
I'm excited about this. I think they're going to be very reliable and reasonably accurate, and it runs on Glock mags. And yeah, it's $2,700 US, but it's from Angstad Arms, so it's going to be well built, and it's a full operable 9mm subgun type carbine.
This 9mm subgun thing, it's starting to really blow up. I mean, there was a few, obviously, like the granddaddy of them all, the MP5, but the Scorpion was a thing, and then the MPX was a thing. But now you're starting to get the Grand Power Strybog, the B&T Grasshopper mouse.
I'm sorry, is the B&T one really called a Grasshopper mouse? Are you making that up?
No, that's what it's called. So it's known as the Scorpion Killer because grasshopper mouses eat scorpions.
Oh my god!
And if you look, if you open one up and you look inside, on like the hammer or something like that, is like a little mouse eating a scorpion.
Immense amounts of hatred.
Yeah.
Whoever did that, no, no.
But yeah, there's like some other cool things in that 9mm subgun thing, and like in Canada they're kind of cool because pistol mags, 10 rounds,
and also we have 100-yard ranges for the most part, so
yeah
rifle
you
rounds
can't have anything else
not
more
strictly
than 10
required. Aero Precision came out with a bolt action rifle. It looks super cool. Remington 700 pattern footprint, Savage small shank pre-fit barrel.
Yep.
I am curious to see what Aero Precision ends up doing with these. It looks like a copy or a clone of the MDT LSS chassis that they're going to ship with.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like.
It's not, but I'm pretty sure it's OEM or it's like a clone or a knockoff. It looks like an MDT LSS.
Yeah, it's that or like an Oryx, which they also own. Like they maybe took the two of them and smashed them together, but like that definitely looks like an MDT vertical grip on there.
Get a little closer.
I'm really excited about this Aero Precision rifle. I think this is going to be a big winner, especially for like the put it together in your garage market.
Yeah.
Let's see if they cater to the left-handed community.
No one caters to the left-handed community.
No.
Ones didn't beat you hard enough.
Burn them all.
Okay.
What do we burn?
Yeah. Aero Precision seems to make some really good products at an excellent price point.
the price point is very appealing for a lot of their AR stuff, and they're not disreputable when it comes to their quality. Like they're well known and reasonably respected. I don't think they've ever been anybody super amazing. They're not the
No,
what's
but
that
like
AR you've got? They're not Noveski, right? But they're good.
no, but like you used to be able to buy, like in Canada anyways, like a Palmetto State Armory AR receiver and an Arrow receiver for like the same price, or maybe like the Arrow is like $10 more, but the quality difference in that $10 gap was massive. You know, so yeah, like an Arrow receiver, if you could still buy one like in the US, would maybe still be considered a budget receiver, but it's not like a don't trust this gun because it will blow up on you or break. It's just a
it's not the poor pony.
It's a lesser financial burden, but it's still a quality product, especially for the money.
Well,
so yeah,
financial burdens that are quality product. We should talk about Springfield.
Do we have to?
Well,
I mean, they've got a couple
I feel like
of
we
things.
would be remiss not to run this out. I don't know if this is like a best of SHOT Show, but like this is certainly like I giggled hardest at SHOT Show.
It was talked about, yeah.
Yeah.
Springfield has released an all-new bullpup rifle of their own design. It's called the Hellion, and it looks horrible. God, it's so ugly. It makes my Tavor look good.
Yeah. I do not.
Fuck is this hideous?
Yeah.
There's so much going on.
Yeah.
It looks
they
like a
took
weird
everything
gun.
I hated about bullpups and they put it on one rifle.
I know. It's like they've got that awful like T97 carry handle with the like side charging handle that's under the carry
flip
handle.
Out side charging handle, like the FNAF style charging handle.
Yeah. And yeah.
But don't worry, it uses AR-15 pistol grips at some weird fucking like 13-degree angle. Like, what the hell is that?
Like,
why?
Great.
Everything about this gun. The longer I look at it, the more I ask why.
Yeah, but
great.
at least
I can change my pistol grip.
Yeah, I was just about to say you can use the pistol grip that you really liked on your other AR.
But could they not have put it at an angle that looks comfortable?
Yeah. Well, but I don't know.
When you want tomatoes and parsley grows, you just deal with it.
But see, this is like when you're building an AR.
Yeah.
There's so many things you can customize on it. So it makes sense to have different grips. Some people want a fat one, some people want a more vertical one, depending on what the role of the AR is. You know, if you're making a precision one, you might want a more vertical grip, or if you're shooting stuff like, but it's the one part, I mean, other than the optic, it's the one part that I can change. So like, how much variety can I really get out of this?
This thing is
like
fucking ugly.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I'm struggling with how hideous this thing from Springfield looks.
It is.
And I mean, like, it's a new rifle. It's a bullpup rifle. It's a $2,000 US bullpup rifle. So it'd be like $2,800, $3,000 by the time we get them up here.
Well, and like, if you look at the stock on it, it looks like it's adjustable, but it looks like they took like, what is it? The Magpul, what's the one with the fatter sides, the CTR?
Yeah.
And mix that with an A2. Because it's like the same bottom thing that looks like to push in to pull it back is like an A2, like old school AR stock.
I'm not saying I wouldn't shoot one. I'm just saying I wouldn't post with it on Instagram.
I would shoot it to see how uncomfortable and unpractical it is. But like,
what if you blurred out your face? Would you post it?
I mean, maybe. I don't know, man. This thing.
I don't know. Maybe it's like riding a moped. It's cool when no one's looking.
No, it's
can't confirm.
Although if we're going to talk about Springfield, because I think this will segue nicely into the other thing that we have to talk about the Springfield high power, because that was the other thing that they announced.
Well, okay, so the Springfield high power is not new for SHOT Show. The FN high power is,
but like Springfield lately though has been pushing.
Right, Springfield last year came out with their new high power, which
and leading up to SHOT Show,
new manufacturer high power.
Yeah,
right.
They were like heavily pushing this at SHOT Show. Like,
yes,
because it came out after last year, but
It was
everyone
after
was
last year's time when
yeah,
SHOT Show
no one
Week
has shot
happened.
it, so they started pushing it hard and being like, "Come and
Yes.
try our new high power." And then like a day or two after they started dropping that, FN did.
FN's like, we've actually just re-released the high power under the FN brand. Oh, PS, it's actually not a high power anymore. None of these parts are compatible. Like, it's a whole different gun. We're just calling it a high power. Because fuck you, Springfield.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure that all of the people at Springfield that have anything to do with the high power are now on suicide watch. Because nobody's going to want the Springfield one.
You know, you say that, I think I would rather have the Springfield high power. The FNH high power looks fucking weird.
It does.
They changed the grips. They changed the grip angle. They changed. Is it a polymer frame now? It looks like some of the options are polymer frame.
I think they've maybe kind of taken some like P320 vibes and like.
So like, yeah, it's technically, it's like a high power, but they also said they modernized it and made 10 substantial internal changes. So
yeah,
it doesn't use high power magazines. It doesn't use high power sights, which actually that's probably an advantage.
Yeah.
It doesn't use higher power grips. It doesn't look like it uses the high power trigger. It looks like it might be the same hammer. It's a whole different gun. They're just calling it a high power.
Yeah, but from the outside, it looks like a high power.
I mean, it kind of looks like a high power, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, the nice thing though is it looks like these look like the regular magazines that some of their other guns use. So like some, you know, interchangeability there, which is great.
I mean, it does look like an FN mag. I'll give you that. I don't know if they're interchangeable. They did go.
Yeah.
They jacked them up to hold 17 rounds now. So the FNH high power will be 17 plus 1.
Yeah, it would be interesting to put these
extra room underneath my 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, for us it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
But a high power is 13, right? Like that's the correct number of rounds.
But even in this article, right, it says each new gun ships with 2 pairs of polymer grips with 3 frames and 7 colors.
It
like
I don't care what color. You can get the gun Cerakoted whatever abysmal color you want. They're calling it a high power, but I can't put any high power parts in it.
Yeah, but why would you want to?
Which, I mean, maybe that's a fair thing, but also, like, Springfield was like, yeah, you know what? We're actually just going to make high powers. Like, we're just going to call it an SA-35, and it's just going to be a fucking high power.
Yeah, you call it a high power, it needs to use anything and everything that...
It'd be interesting to put these two side by side and really compare the two.
Oh, I want both of them, 100%. Yeah. I'm just, like...
We need your help to support the show, become a Patreon, so we can do this assessment.
Yeah, so we can have some high power money.
Yeah.
At an outdoor range in Manitoba.
Yes.
Can confirm.
Yeah.
Real quick, 8.6 Blackout is going to be commercial production now. 8.6 Blackout is not new, but it was a big deal at SHOT Show this year. Q, the letter Q, the gun company Q, has partnered with Faxon Arms and someone else. I think, is it Hornady that's making their ammunition?
I can't remember, but let's just say
they finally partnered with an ammunition manufacturer, and they're actually going to have like commercially viable 8.6 Blackout, which, man, does that look cool if you could have a suppressor.
Yeah, and like Q's the one that makes the Honey Badger, like the real one, not the video game one, but like a real cool suppressed gun. And yeah, the 8.6 is meant to be shot suppressed with a short
So
barrel.
they've taken a 300 Winchester and necked it up to 8.6 millimeter.
Yeah.
So it's 338 now instead of 308.
Yeah.
But it's a 308. It's a 300 grain bullet, and it's going. It was going reasonably slow, wasn't it? It was going like
it's subsonic.
So and it's a 1 in 3 twist barrel, I think. and they were
Yeah.
going with like an 8-inch barrel on these things.
Yeah, so you're probably only going to get like 300 yards out of it, like effectively.
But it
But-
sounds like a suppressed 22 when you shoot it with a suppressor, which again in Canada, no practical purpose. I'm just
It would
excited
be-
about like
It would be
the
interesting
idea
to
of
That's
it.
cool.
It would be really cool to see what this like what it sounds like out of an 8-inch barrel without a suppressor, because I imagine it would still be fairly quiet.
Yeah, because it's subsonic.
Yeah, but not even that, just like the load and everything else is going to be like would make it super quiet to begin with, and then like a suppressor just makes it like that's
much more.
crazy quiet. But like
I found the number. So on the 12-inch test barrel, it was 1,000 feet a second, and on the 8-inch test barrel, it was 890.
So for proper Canadian testing, we need your help to support the show. Visit Patreon.
What's-
we need a suppressor, guys.
how short can we go on a manual action?
26 inches overall, I think, is the limit.
Well, we'd have to see what the
Depends.
whole thing measures out to be, because like at 300 yards, like that could be a fun hunting gun.
I think
oh,
as,
yeah.
Bush gun.
as a pressed
Yeah.
hunting gun, a 12-inch bolt action with, because you got to remember, there's a suppressor on there too, right? So it's a 12-inch
Yeah.
barrel, and then you got your
Plus your
suppressor length,
thing,
whatever
yeah.
that is. So like,
Oh, yeah,
say
but
another
would,
8 to
would
12
the,
inches.
would the suppressor count as part of the barrel length?
No,
Uh,
unless you were to
say-
weld it on.
No,
They
yeah,
have to be
say
permanently
Canadian
attached
laws,
in the
right?
U.S. Well,
Like,
it doesn't
I
matter
know-
because we're not getting suppressors, which is why I said this
Okay.
is like a very brief, like, this is cool from like a ballistic nerd standpoint. It
Yeah.
has no
Yeah.
application in our country.
No, but I mean,
Yeah, no.
even without a suppressor, as a hunting rifle, it could be
Yeah.
interesting in this country, especially if you can like with the 8-inch barrel, if you're still able to get out to 300 yards, and like that, depending on what your energy is at that 300 yards and whether that's still an ethical kill for an animal or not, like you'd have to see. But like
It's a 300 grain bullet. I'm pretty sure it's
I
still going to count.
imagine, yeah, I imagine it is. Like that could be
and I
a
mean,
really interesting hunting rifle, because like nice and compact for in the bush. Even if
Yeah.
you had to go to a 12-inch barrel, that's still nice and compact.
Yeah, for sure. And
That's
I mean,
what I'm looking at it as, is like that'd be an excellent bush gun, because when you're in the
Yeah.
bush, you might down a trail see 100 yards one time.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
you don't need to be able to poke out 700 yards when you're in the bush. You just need something that's going to hit hard.
yeah.
right? Like,
And yeah, anything past 100 is bonus, but like you're lucky if you at least, I mean, in Ontario, if you see anything out past 100, good luck. Like that just doesn't happen. It's
no. I've hunted few properties and I'm like, what, 50 yards is a stretch, right?
But
Just
yeah,
because of bush, like,
this
And you
thing
have so
with
little
one of those
time.
voodoos on it, man. Oh, that would be a sweet bush gun.
yeah, that'd be,
I could see some
It's-
appeal to that.
yeah, for sure.
Last big thing from Shot Show. Last big thing from Shot Show. This one is Canadian, so we're
Yeah.
ending on the maple syrup note. The
Yeah.
WK-180 has a Gen 2 option.
Our friend
Yeah.
Sean and the
Yay.
rest of the guys at First Focal Plane put out a video on this.
I would love to open up the article, but I'm not part of Canadian Gun Nuts and it won't open.
I couldn't find a website because like no one that was
Yeah.
covering
Just-
Shot Show cared about like the weird
Yeah.
Canadian gun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
other
don't
than
disagree.
like, we should
The
have got
NRA
Sean on
mag
there.
and the firearms blog and all of the other
Yeah.
all of the other mainstream coverage of Shot Show, like all the big
Nobody
gun sites.
cared.
Nobody
Yeah.
cared. So I had to
I
go to
mean-
Gun Nuts to get a.
I have some things that I really like about this and some things that I really hate about this.
All right, lay it on me.
So the fact that they've gone and like, so there's some other guys that are coming out with some receivers, and they've made it so that it takes AR trigger pins instead of like the longer 180 pins, which is cool. These guys have gone that little step further and shaved some more out so that it takes an AR safety.
Okay.
So like some cool stuff. They've actually listened to their customers. It's taken them a little while because some of these original WKs were grenades.
Yes. Yeah.
One of the
What
other
I want
things
from
that
my
they're doing,
firearms.
yeah, is that they've gone and they've used AR takedown pins. The only problem with that then is that means that their upper and lower are only compatible with their upper and lower, because all the other 180s use a different style front pin as a pivot pin, and there is no rear pin. So like your ability to interchange your uppers and lowers with other 180s is effectively gone now. And the reciprocating or non-reciprocating bolt thing is kind of cool, but not really needed. But then again, that makes that a proprietary bolt. So again, you're losing some of that, like what made the AR-15 and the AR-10 really cool is that like all of the parts are interchangeable. You've now started to get that up here where you had an AR-180B or C or whatever version they're on, all have parts that are interchangeable amongst the different manufacturers. And now they've gone and done something that is going to be proprietary to their brand.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm undecided if I like the changes or if I don't. Some of them seem good, and some of them... Making it more proprietary makes me a little bit sad, but a lot of other firearms are proprietary, so maybe it's not such a terrible thing.
Right?
But
when
like
you go and you buy,
if I was going to get an MP5, I wouldn't be
yeah,
mad that I had an MP5 because, like,
you have an MP5, yeah,
right,
yeah, and same. Like you go and you buy a Ruger PC carbine, like you know that like you're going to need to buy parts for that, but like.
I think where the difference is if I had a Ruger PC carbine, I would know that I could call Ruger, and if I had a dud, they would give me a working one.
Yeah.
And I don't feel, and I mean, not to poop all over WK, because like they're trying to make a product in Canada, in the Canadian market, for the Canadian market.
I mean,
like, I appreciate
the W
that,
in the WK is reliable. It's the K in the equation. And again, yeah, not to shit on the Canadian manufacturer because I want more of them. But
yeah, I don't know. I'm still not convinced that I'm gonna buy a WK 180, and if I was, I'm still not sure that I'm gonna buy. I'm not convinced that I'm gonna buy a 180, and if I am, I'm not convinced that it's gonna be this WK 180C Gen 2. It's like, it's kind of cool. They fixed some of the flaws I think that were in the original design, but they also made it more proprietary. And
which, yeah,
I don't know.
If they hadn't done the reciprocating bolt handle and they had kept the original takedown pins, but done all the other stuff, I think it would have been a more viable option, because at least then you have the ability to like, well, if I've already got a lower for one that seems to be working just fine, but I want a better upper, or vice versa, you could make that switch and buy one or the other and just mate it to the thing that you've already got and have something that functions better. But yeah, that proprietariness just kind of like, it's annoying. But I think we're all trying to fill that AR void where we have a huge amount of customization that we can do. And we're finally getting that with the 180s. But then they take it away from us.
Well, and I mean, Chris points that out on the YouTube too, right? Like, the closer the closer the 180 gets to being an AR, the more likely it is to get banned, because now it's going to be an AR variant, right?
Yeah. It's those takedown pins that.
How do you guys feel about the Kodiak?
It's the same thing. I'm not.
Well, that's the K and WK is Kodiak, right? So it's like
it's not. I appreciate that they're trying to make a gun in Canada for the Canadian market, because I think that that's great that we have domestic manufacturing and we can build cool things here. But I don't know, the QC doesn't seem to be there for me. The finish on it's not great for the price. Like, they're expensive for what they are.
I'm going to say this, and I think we've said it before, but like, it seems that every Canadian manufacturer of firearms uses their customers for R&D. And I mean, like, I know to a certain extent every company does that, but like Canadian companies seem especially bad at that, where like the Gen 1 product of whatever it is comes out, people
especially
buy it.
If they're companies that are dark and near running water.
Yeah. In the northeast part of the province.
Yeah, they used to be in the Northeast.
Yeah. But they all seem to be really bad for that, where
Well, like, that's
they'll
what I
make
was
a
saying,
product,
maybe
put it out, and
I'm-
then
I'm sensitive about the Canadian market, maybe because it's not like the firearms community is not that big of a community, so everybody kind of knows everybody. And like when you have to rebrand your company because you did like a poor job of delivering your product, everybody knows it's still you, bro.
yeah. But then you start coming out with things that nobody wants.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I like what Kodiak and Wolverine are doing with this. I like the idea, and I liked 180, like the 180 type.
Yeah, no problem
not
with the
ARs
like.
before.
Yeah, no problem with the design per se. It's not an AR-15, but like it's pretty friggin' close, and like the design itself, it's a little
They're not
blocky
bad.
and a little ugly, but like if it runs, right?
Yeah, but you know what? If I could import one, I'd rather import a Brownells 180 because I know if I have a problem, I could just call Brownells and be like, "Hey, your shit broke."
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Like or a Bren or like some of the other like well-established companies, but we're stuck dealing with the Canadian ones because all the American ones are interchangeable with ARs, and we get screwed that way. But yeah, I think that the way the market's been developing with a bunch of people now being not able to buy ARs, they're putting all of this into 180s. And we're starting to get that similar AR market, but then these guys come and finally listen to customers, which is awesome, but then go, oh yeah, by the way, all of the stuff is proprietary now, basically, and you're gonna have to, like, you'll be able to salvage some parts.
And
but
if it was a bigger company or if they were not here, I wouldn't feel so bad about it.
exactly,
like, H&K, it's all proprietary, but you know what? H&K is not going anywhere.
Yeah, and it's gonna work.
Well,
they do the R&D first and then sell the product, but they've got the money to be able to do that. The Canadian startups,
yes,
I mean, I
because
admit they don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're not for the poors. Yeah,
but not for the poors. Anything else from SHOT Show that we missed?
No, I think that, I mean, as far as that's all the cool stuff. Anyways, there's a lot of like other
There was little
stupid
odds and ends.
things.
I thought that was the.
Yeah.
Marty had a really good list, and I had a couple of points to it, and yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick, the trucker thing, because we're running a little bit long on time.
What trucker thing?
Let's talk about truckers.
The Freedom.
Oh, you mean that
2020
protest against the weather? That one?
The protest against well, that's how it started. So this weekend, the CBC ran a story. It was on January 22nd. Truckers protest dangerous conditions on BC highways. Convoy made its way from Surrey to Vancouver. And the story was later updated to include that this differs from Sunday's rally against vaccine mandates.
Yeah,
Sunday being the 23rd.
So two rallies for truckers on the same weekend for different things in the same place.
Well, and the CBC did eventually have to make articles. The first one on the 23rd was actually just like a photo journal essay kind of thing. It was like 5 pictures with no story. And then as of, I think this one was from today. Yeah. Today, the Trucker Freedom Rally Convoy passes from Windsor on its way to Ottawa. So, I mean, we've managed to go from BC to Southern Ontario.
Yeah.
Guess we don't count the provinces in the western part of the country anymore.
Because there's nobody here.
Trucks are fast.
Keep
when
forgetting
there's
about
only
us,
three
we're happy.
when there's only 3 people and the dog, which is Peter's, we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Keep forgetting about us. We're happy. Actually, so what's happened with the trucker convoy is now there's like 8 or 9 different small convoys coming from different areas that are all meeting in the same place now. There's the dog. So the main one has actually split up into 2 groups, just to make things a little bit more feasible, because it was getting like 70 kilometers long or something ridiculous.
Oh, so it's probably more than the 100 trucks that the CBC is reporting.
Yeah, they're hoping to be at 1 million by the time they get to Ottawa. There's a bunch of guys. No, million
trucks.
Million people.
Million people. Okay.
Yes,
it's the million truck march. Yes.
Yeah, because there's like
that
1 million
would be
trucks.
Quite impressive. There won't be
So
any
what do
million
they mean
people.
by a million people? Like a million people sitting
No
in
dogs,
trucks
Pierre.
driving out of them?
Yeah, no,
yeah,
no,
it
no dogs. Yeah.
does not include these guys.
Okay, but still,
It's-
we're talking like a million people sitting in trucks, or just a million people supporting.
well, there
I'm just
for the
curious.
protest.
I don't understand.
Yeah, people
A
there
million
for
people
the
at
same
a protest
protest.
would be pretty impressive because the media would have to
Oh,
say there
for
was
sure.
at least a few hundred.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
when you have thousands of people marching behind the reporter while they're reporting and don't even mention it.
Oh, so you,
Do they
you also
really
saw,
need to?
was that CTV that had that?
Yeah, CP24.
CP24 that had that. That's right, because they were
Yeah.
doing a
Oh.
protest at Queen's Park this weekend for the vaccine stuff, and CP24 neglected to mention the literally hundreds of people that walked by their studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing happening. Not anything worth reporting at
the
all,
Freedom
except for the
Convoy.
giant mob of people.
So yeah, back
Uh,
to the convoy. Sorry, Andrew.
No, I was just gonna say real quick, they got a GoFundMe that got started, and I had heard that the GoFundMe was gonna get pulled or that it was under review or investigation or something because I guess a bunch of politicians got kind of uppity.
Well, because
When I
truck
wrote up
drivers are
the-
right-wing terrorists. That's,
When I wrote up the show notes earlier, they were at $3.7 million. I'm looking at the number right now, and they're just about to hit $4 million. Like they're 3,999,610. Like almost $4 million raised for this, and this has been going for 2 weeks, like 10 calendar days, January 14th, and they're up to $4 million to support this effort. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
it's
I should have been
unreal.
a truck
But that-
driver. These
so-
guys must have money.
But to put that in perspective, if you've got $4 million and you have 4,000 trucks, and that's $1,000 each guy, and that won't even cover your gas.
Yeah. No, I mean, I fully.
And I think there's a
support
lot more
this.
than 4,000 trucks. So
Yeah,
Oh,
That's
for
crazy.
sure, for sure.
I am
It's
all
crazy.
about this. I think these guys are doing something that's awesome that we have not seen of this magnitude in this country for a very long time, if ever.
they
So-
are the
so-
official opposition.
Can we
So-
talk about the photo journal essay part of this? Because there was a little caption under each of the pictures on Pravda. I mean, on the CBC website, and they said that there's
Same.
160,000 truck drivers that make regular crossings between the U.S. and Canada, and this mandate that's come into effect with the cross-border vaccine stuff would affect 26,000. And we all know I'm good at arithmetic, and I double checked this one with the calculator, Chris. Thank you. That's 16%. So if the average of people getting, like the average adults in Canada getting their COVID inoculations is in the order of 90% right now, and truck drivers, this only affects 16% of truck drivers. Like that's not super far off of the average, right?
But it's a noticeable amount.
Well, is it though? Right. If the average for the whole population is 10%, and this is an average for 16% that are not
Well,
inoculated.
That's like an extra half. I
Right,
mean, that's
so-
more than like
but-
a decimal point.
But
right? Like it's
But I also heard that this government mandated jab would also affect not so much the individual person going across the states as much as if someone in the company needs to go stateside or international borders, that pretty much everybody in the company does need to get it in case that person falls sick and someone else does. Right. So even though you're part of a big company where only one of truck driver would cross the states, maybe once a week, let's say once every 2 weeks, right? That a good 90 to 100% of all people that require the same driver's license as that person, whether it's AZ or DZ, to be mandated to keep whatever paperwork in order for them to be able to cross states and come back.
I don't know. I find that the trucking association, the Canadian Trucking Alliance, being like, this affects 16% of our workforce, and they're being we're talking about 1 million people converging on Ottawa to protest this. I don't know. Something there does not seem to add up to me.
That alliance, the Canadian Trucking Alliance is a longtime
Yeah.
Liberal donor. They show.
shocking.
Sorry.
So
What?
is that the same?
They don't.
Are they
Go
the
ahead.
same ones that are holding the weather protest
Oh, I'm
conveniently at the same time
Sounds
as
correct.
the other thing to maybe like shift the story into their direction? And I mean, like, maybe this is my tinfoil hat being on too tight, but it seems to me weird that there are two trucker protests that are happening at the same place at the same time in this country. And the person that seems, if I remember, it was one of those like Western Trucking Alliance or whatever is the one that's doing the
They
weather
are
thing.
two different.
But
So
they're
it's the
also
things I
one
was talking
shitting
about was
on
the
the other.
Canadian Trucking Alliance, and the people that
Yeah.
were doing the weather protests that got interviewed by Pravda, by the CBC, was the West Coast Trucking Alliance, which I'm sure have some
there's
sort of
I'm
relationship.
sure there's some association there, and one was shitting on the other protest. So like, yeah, there's got to be some
But yes,
hand
color me
holding.
shocked that the people running the Canadian Trucking Alliance have been donating to the Liberal Party. That is completely unexpected.
They
Somebody has
support
got to deliver those
the-
Wish.com cabinets.
Yes.
They are an alliance of major trucking companies. They don't actually have anything to do with the truckers themselves.
No, they're
Yeah,
just like a
Well,
what do you
because
call
yeah,
it? Like
most
an industry association.
like most truckers are independent that are contracted out by these trucking lines or whatever that will subcontract out the work to whoever it is that drives stuff across the country.
Yep.
I feel like somebody is maybe not being entirely honest with me here. If we've managed to raise $4 million for this, and we're talking about thousands of trucks and 1 million people converging on Ottawa for 16% of a group of workforce, like whatever that cohort is in the workforce, right? It's not a population because that's the whole group, but that subset of people who are employed in driving trucks, and instead of being 10% of them being affected like the rest of the population, it's 16% of them. I don't know. Something with the numbers there doesn't seem to add up to me. That seems like a disproportionate response. So
there's a lot of people joining that aren't truckers, obviously.
For sure.
There's
But people that just support
thousands of people who are just lining up
Well,
and joining the convoy. I
and I
think
mean-
last they said though registered vehicles they had in the convoy was somewhere around 50,000. I could be wrong. I should check that. But
Well, and,
yeah.
and this is something that like it's affecting, I mean, all borders in North and whatnot America, because it's a joint thing between the US and Canada where they're not going to let trucks go back and forth across the border unless the drivers are vaccinated, but it also affects truck drivers coming from Mexico into the US. So like this is a big thing across the continent where like this is going to massively affect supply chain.
Oh, for sure. In case you haven't been to the grocery store in certain areas lately.
Well, and I'm already seeing it, and like we're already seeing supply chain issues like across the friggin' world because of the Rona and all of the things. And now you're going to have these trucks that are not rolling. So if you're getting your chicharrones from Mexico, they're not even going to get into the US, let alone into Canada. And all these other things that flow between those three countries because of our NAFTA 2.0. That was a terrible deal for us, but like at least product was moving.
We got trumped.
Yeah. But now
we did.
I think there's a lot of truckers that are even chose to get vaccinated that are supporting this because mandating it is stupid and violates so many things.
I have a good friend who
it
was extremely if he lost his job, he's screwed. He's a trucker. He had no other choice, so he did it. And there's a lot of people who are in that same boat where they don't have a choice because they can't afford to lose their job. They'll be out of their house in a month.
Yeah. They can't.
I think
they can't afford
that's the
to
same
have,
across all industries.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
You know,
We-
they
we
can't
have a few
afford to
friends-
have 3 days off. You know, let alone lose a job and find a
Yeah.
new one. They can't afford, 2 days in a row within a 2-month period. You know, they just can't afford it. Like, yeah, it is a possibility for, I'm sure, many fucking Canadians. You know, not just
Yeah.
truckers, just people in general. As the time is right now, right? Like it's
we
That's
have several
scary.
friends that drive truck, and one of them is really worried because he doesn't want to get it, and he's been looking, for work elsewhere in case something like this happens. Other friends of ours have been in situations where their work has basically said, you need to do this or you're out on your ass. And I'm starting to get in that same position where I have a meeting that's scheduled in the US in April. I need to cross the border to get to this meeting. I can't do that currently. But
Yeah.
like, if I'm not there, it's me and 4 other people in the room. It's good. My absence is going to be noticed. I'm my own boss, so like my company can't make me, but for my company to be successful and continue on, I need to be at this meeting.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely disgusting that our leaders have put us in this position where people have got to go against the things that they believe in order to be able to provide for their families.
It also sounds
Yeah.
like about 1,000-ish American truckers are going to be joining the rally. So thank you, Trudeau, for
Good.
being first to have the stupid deadline, so that we got the American truckers up here before they had to go to do theirs in their country. But what do you guys think is going to be the end game of this? Like so the quote is they want to go to Ottawa and give them a big bear hug. That's kind of the
I think their
running
goal
joke.
is
So it's
ambitious.
circling Ottawa.
So
Yep.
even if they don't manage to like give Ottawa a giant bear hug, all they have to do is literally not drive and stay home, and they will cripple the country.
Yeah.
It's not going to be quite as like dramatic as like thousands upon thousands of trucks parked in Ottawa blocking all of the roads and like not just wreaking havoc across the country, but like everything in Ottawa slows down and you have to walk.
Okay, I'm getting
everywhere.
excited.
That's why we
I
only
think
film
that-
from here up.
Well, it is. I think. Well, it is better to disrupt Ottawa. I think if we had some sort of massive shutdown, if we had whatever the number of trucks ended up being, 5,000, 50,000, whatever, however many of these trucks end up in Ottawa, if they simply just were not driving, I think there would be a lot of very hungry people within a couple of days.
Well, and this is the part that I'm excited about, because we've always complained that there's not enough people that are uncomfortable enough to do something, and this has the potential to make people uncomfortable.
And so the downside I see with this is that the truckers or the trucking associations will get blamed for it because they voluntarily are not driving, rather than blaming the government, who is actually responsible for mismanaging the economy and printing a bazillion fake dollars.
It doesn't matter. Blame the truckers all you want. At the end of the day, are you going to replace even 10,000 truckers to do whatever supply chain, right? Whether you want to take.
Yeah, I think it would be hard to replace them.
Consideration the government mandating something that goes against whatever the truckers in the next week to.
Well, and I didn't care for the reversal because there was the deadline for this mandate stuff came into effect on January the 14th or 15th, whatever it was, and
last Saturday.
Right, and the government came out and said, "Oh yeah, we're not actually doing this." And the next day, the government came out and said, well, "That was a mistake. We're actually like full steam ahead."
Yeah, we reversed our reversal.
Oh, is Pierre trying to
grocery store? So whichever way you the truckers
Yeah, I can't tell if you're cutting out or speaking French.
I think the CSIS is in his neighborhood, and the black vans.
Got him.
Yeah.
They definitely, the helicopters have appeared at Pierre's house. He is gone.
Yeah. He's talking too much about the protest.
Got him.
No, I am really excited about this because, like I said, I think this is a great opportunity to make a lot of people uncomfortable so that they actually get off their ass and do something about this.
I want, if that's the case, I want people to understand that this is the fault of the government and not the
Yes.
people driving the trucks. Because I
Absolutely.
think there's a lot of people that are not listeners of our podcast and not especially intelligent contributors in society who will grocery store empty, trucker bad. Because the media will tell them that the shortage is in the grocery store because the trucks aren't driving. They won't say it's because the government has increased inflation in food. Bacon is up 19% this year over last year. Chicken is up 6%. Beef is up 12% over last year. Like no one is.
Yeah, but it's
no one in
okay. The
mainstream media
minimum
is talking
wage in
about
Ontario has gone up to 15. We'll be able to afford it, right?
Right, but no one in the mainstream media is talking about like the increase in inflation. They're talking about like housing prices have gone up. And okay, yeah, like housing prices have gone up, but they're not talking about like
that only affects you if you're buying a house.
20% of the total dollars in circulation in our economy didn't exist 18 months ago.
Yeah.
Like nobody's mentioned that part. Nobody's mentioned that my bacon now costs 20% more than it did last year.
Like being on keto, I eat a lot of bacon.
Right? So my concern is that keto, my concern is that the media will be like, truckers bad, truckers not delivering food, and people will be like, truckers bad, truckers not delivering food, because like nobody's being like, Justin Trudeau bad, Justin Trudeau screwing up economy.
Well, I mean there
like,
are, but the media just blanks.
The
on
media
those
doesn't
people.
cover it, and this is the problem. Is like
does.
you have a lot of people that watch CP24 or CNN or whatever other mainstream repetitive television stuff is because everybody's fucking TV race, and they have the same talking points on all day, every day. I was at the car dealership recently. I had to go get service done on my truck, and I was in the waiting room, and I had to listen to that.
Got to get it ready for the convoy. Yeah.
Well, no, but I turned off the TV in the waiting room for the 15 minutes I had to wait for my truck to be ready, because in the 15 minutes that I stood there, CP24 had already like restarted the loop of all their stories. Yeah. And I had to start listening to them again. I'm like, how do people watch this all day? I cannot physically sit here and like contend with somebody who doesn't know anything telling me that I should be angry about this thing that really has no bearing on my life.
Yeah. And that's the problem, right? Is too many people have been trained, or I shouldn't even say trained, but yeah, like I mean, I'll use the word trained loosely in some scenarios.
The Pavlovian sense of the word.
Right. So until a few years ago, I guess you could say, right? Like let's talk back 20 years ago, right? Like the news was valid information and you trusted the news, right? Like if your parents turned on the news, it was you sat down, you didn't say a fucking word because it was the news, right? For that half hour, whatever channel you listen to. And it was valid information related to anything in and around your area, potentially province-wide, potentially,
big stuff. Maybe there's some national coverage or some world stuff.
Exactly. But, anything that related into whether you lived in the small butthole Ottawa, close to where I live, or the big butthole Toronto area, because at the end of the day, that's all that mattered.
Well, right? But now there was always bias. But yeah, I don't know whether we were just less woke back then or what, but like there seemed to be a lot less bias.
I think part of it is that the biases have changed over time, and it's, I think in a big way, the government funding, like how many billions of dollars does the federal government give to the CBC, right?
Too many.
So a day or every year.
Yeah.
Whichever way you want to slice it. But if you're getting government money, if you say bad things about the government, like if you say things the government doesn't like,
and they're going to cut your funding, right?
Well, it's not just the CBC, but I'm using the CBC as an example because the CBC gets a lot of tax dollars.
It's basically directly government funded, but then like you look at that and it's like, okay, government media is going to obviously be the spokesperson for government. But then when they start like doling out millions of dollars to the other networks too, you can't have any reliable outlet other than
well, it's
us,
not even just that it's not reliable. You get an implicit bias just from the funding source.
Yeah.
But also the 24-hour news cycle didn't exist 20 years ago.
Yeah,
right? Like
it was
CNN
was
just getting to be a thing. Well, I mean, CNN maybe has been a little bit longer than that, but even 20 years ago, CNN, the 24-hour news cycle was not like it is now.
Yeah, the way that they report news has changed.
Right. You have an hour, say everything that's prominent and very informative or whatever needs to get to people, right? You've got a 1 hour window, no ands or buts, right? It wasn't you own your own fucking goddamn channel now because you get so much government funding that you could talk news for 22 out of 24 hours a day.
And I think that's so we have implicit biases from funding sources. We have a change in the way that journalism is done. We have a change we don't have any of those local news affiliate, like local news station. There's no reporters. There's no hometown newspapers anymore. Not the same. Go and look at all the sources that we use from the mainstream media, Global and CBC and CTV, and it's all just repeats from the Canadian press.
Yep.
I mean, not all of it, but like the vast majority of it, it's just coming from a wire service, and there's only like 3 big wire services.
Yeah.
So part of it is like the centralization of information. Part of it is the implicit biases from funding. Part of it is the change in how journalism is done. And
the way like the media that it's delivered on too. So like all the clickbaitiness and like online news where people don't even bother reading
CBC's Twitter feed.
They don't even bother reading the article. They read the headline, which has like absolutely nothing to do with the article at times.
Yeah.
And then they think that's the take, and you're like, no, that's not what the thing.
The article actually said the exact opposite. Because we read the articles, and I make detailed show notes, and we talk about that stuff. You want real takes you want good takes that nobody else is giving you. You come listen to CPP,
which is why we don't get any funding.
Agreed.
You're probably going to be reported for being anti-government.
Well, tune in whenever we
if
get
you'd like
around to the
support
story
the
to talk
show.
about.
Yeah.
Whenever we get to talk about the RCMP telling people to turn in their anti-government neighbors, I mean, be on a watch list.
Along those lines, though, I have 2 quotes that I would like to read. You guys probably already know them, but I was always willing to be reasonable until I had to be unreasonable. Sometimes reasonable men must do unreasonable things. Marvin Heemeyer. Second quote.
Can confirm.
Every normal man must be tempted at times to spit on his hands, hoist the black flag, and begin slitting throats. H.L. Mencken.
Yep.
I don't know how those relate to anything that we've been saying because this is an entertainment podcast.
They're just really
we've been drinking.
Yeah, they're just. I think they're interesting.
I am interested to see how this plays out. Tune in next week when we find out what the truckers get up to, and we'll see if we do any of the other news in the bottom of the stack that I've been collecting up. Because I'm trying really hard not to do COVID stuff right now, because there's so much of my day reading the news is like COVID nonsense.
Yeah. So, it's just crazy. But on a quick note, on the trucker stuff.
You doing some shirts?
If you join the Discord, we've got a bunch of info there. We're doing some shirts. Where
shorts, you say?
I'll put them on underwear if you want. But in support for the truckers, we're gonna donate all proceeds of everything we sell for support the convoy 2022 stuff. Join the Discord. All the info's there. Send us an email. You name it, we'll make it happen. I believe we're doing it till next Friday. I mean, we live so close to the small butthole that we're telling everybody to get everything by like Thursday or Friday and bust the shirts out so everybody's got everything for the convoy that's here in Ottawa. But if you just want it, send us some info. We'll make it happen for you.
Right on. Next month, we're not doing... Oh, go ahead, Peter.
Sorry. just to finish up the trucker thing, there'll be Kenora tonight, and then Thunder Bay, the Sioux, and then Ottawa on the 29th. That's kind of their itinerary. You can go to canadaunity.com, canada-unity.com for more info if you want.
Show notes there.
Yeah, I'm hoping to be at the one on Thursday in Hamilton. So maybe I'll go live on the Facebooks to see what it's all about and see like is this true? Are there 50,000 trucks, or is it like the CB says 100 people?
There's a small convoy that left Manitoba today, a local one that was already apparently quite impressive. They'll be passing through tomorrow afternoon through my area. I think they're getting to Winnipeg around 2:00 and leaving around 3. And we're going to be waiting for them at the longitudinal center of Canada tomorrow around 3:30. I'll be there, so watch for the helicopters. You'll see me.
There you go.
Watch for the helicopters.
Yeah, so Gavin will all depend how much he gets government funding between now and the time they hit Hamilton. He will relate how many people are in there. If he gets enough funding, he may fudge the numbers.
Yeah.
Everybody's
We'll get
got
closer
a
to the truth.
So if Trudeau, if you'd like to send me a few $1 million, I will underreport the numbers.
Yeah. Everybody's got $1. Whether you like it or not, everybody does.
It's true.
Okay.
Mine is I'd like to have my AR.
I like to think that we don't.
Yeah, you'd like to think you don't, but
Oh no, I
everybody
fully
does.
admit that
There's
I
a
do,
point.
but my number is very high. Very, very, very high.
All right, so I just confirmed sales end Wednesday. You want to get shirts out by Friday for Saturday. We'll ship, but we're not going to guarantee they get there by a certain date or whatever. Yeah, that's what my wife said, which means that's what happens. She's on the
There you go.
or YouTube stuff. So yeah, next or this Wednesday, next I don't even know. I've had a lot of whiskey. So let's check the Discord, follow those dates, and yeah, I agree with it. We're good.
All right. Next week, we're not doing news. Last Monday of the month is book club. And the January book for book club is True North Tradecraft Disaster Preparedness Guide, a primer on urban and suburban disaster preparedness. Congratulations. I have now read half the book.
Which
I'm
could come in
kidding a
really
little
handy if this trucker thing really does choke
Yeah,
off.
no, it's
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good book.
The time to buy the
little bit-
expensive bacon was before it became expensive.
Yeah, no, actually, Costco's price went down on bacon because I buy 4 500-gram packs.
It's nice.
Yeah, they were $19.99 for a little bit, and then they went up to, I want to say $24-25, and they're back down to that price. And I'm like, good luck finding 500-gram packs any other place.
Time to stock up.
Can't even find the 500-gram packs. Never mind the price. All you get is the dang 350-gram packs. That's like half a meal. Who even wants it? Go to Costco.
You know what? A funny thing is, I cooked a pound, like 500 grams, a pound of bacon. I cooked a pound of bacon, about like 4 pieces of bacon made it to the kitchen table, right? So my wife and daughter got mad. So next time I cooked bacon, we took 2 pounds of it. Yeah, 4 strips still made it to the table because I ate like 2. So I don't cook bacon anymore.
Sounds like something
I'm
wrong with your
eventually
kitchen.
allowed to.
I have a system. I have a system. Each of my kids gets their 2 slices. Like I'll make the full pound of bacon or however much I'm making. Put 2 on each of the kids' plates. Put 5 on my wife's or 4 on my wife's plate, and the rest are mine.
That's fair.
So
equitable.
Not even that much makes it to the table for me. I'm not allowed to cook bacon.
It's like the bacon equivalent of the big piece of chicken. Yeah.
Oh, that's mine.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'll be there Thursday in Hamilton. So come say hi to me if you're there as well.
You know what?
Go
If
look for Gavin.
Yeah, that, and I know you mentioned next month's book or this month's book, but if you
This
mentioned
month's book.
next month's
This
book,
month's book.
I have not. What is the February book? Are you holding up the
this one,
February book?
this one's from Pierre, Long Range Shooting Handbook, Beginner's Guide to Precision Rifle Shooting by Ryan M. Kleckner.
Kleckner, I think.
Yeah. So February's book.
fantastic book.
Well, I got my copy as well, so I guess it's good that we're announcing that because I almost forgot, and it's almost February.
Yeah, I'm just giving people a head start.
Yeah, I'll have to get on that one.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a good book. He has a great YouTube channel. We should go around. Pierre, we'll start with you. Where can
No,
Pierre's not
and
here.
he just disappeared. Yeah.
If you want to get one of Pierre's truck shirts or shorts, as the case may be, offthewallcustomizing@gmail.com. Send Melissa and Pierre an email. Let them know what size underpants you need your truck printed on.
Front part extra large.
Yeah, truck part extra large, undies just medium.
Yeah.
Extra medium. Gavin, where can everybody find you, buddy?
Thursday, you can find me in person at 9:30 a.m. in Hamilton at the Trucker Thing. Otherwise, you can find me on the Instagrams, UrbexGTA.
All right. Peter, do you have any sort of social media or anything you'd like to plug on your way out?
I'm on the Discord, Wild Turkey.
Perfect.
Come and hang out. It's a good time. Or 3:30 p.m. tomorrow at the Longitudinal Center of Canada. Let's go cheer on some truckers.
Yeah, I like that. That'll be good.
Hey.
Sorry, Melissa, we haven't picked a March book yet, but we'll take suggestions if you want to send an email about what books we should read. Feedback at CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. We'll read most things. We've done fiction, we've done nonfiction, we've done skills, we've done gun stuff, we've done, I don't know, we've done lots of stuff. One time I read something by a communist.
I've read the Communist Manifesto too.
Freaking awful.
Yeah. That was
I
a
chose
good
to
one
skip
to
that
work out to, because like that just enraged me.
Oh,
There you go. So, Andrew, you should listen to those when going for your Ruck merch.
It's not like you really have to pay
Oh.
attention because it's like blah 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 bullshit, blah 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 blah, more bullshit, blah blah blah, economic theory that isn't actually good, blah 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 bullshit. But anger the whole way. That's basically,
you'll be happy and you will own nothing. Is pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
equality through everyone.
The only audiobook I got excited about listening to when I was out hiking was Uncle Ted. So
yeah, that was a better one to like work out to, because you're like, this motherfucker was right.
Right. And it's
I
more
need to get home so I can send a letter right now.
Yeah. I'm so glad that I'm on an analog workout machine and not a digital one.
I mean, it wasn't
go
nice to
home
be
and I'm
outside
going to use my
nature.
typewriter.
All right. 48 Laws of Power. I think we could maybe tentatively schedule that in. We'll take some polls in the panelists chat here, but I think I've got a copy of 48 Laws of Power and started reading it recently, so I think we could maybe do that if that's what Melissa's going to bully Pierre into making us do.
Hey, we got the book. It did take a little bit for the book to get here, but the book's already here. So
yeah, that's right. She's going to bully you into bullying the panel into doing it. I've got a copy. You've got a copy. We can make that happen.
I'm down.
If you have listened to this, which will be a very long podcast by the time I get this out, if you've listened to this entire 2-hour escapade on guns and rucking and Professor Theodore and truckers holding up Parliament,
trucks.
Yeah.
And Pierre drunk.
well, I mean, we're all
to
who's
get
not.
hyped for
And
to
Peter.
get hyped for this. Watch Maximum Overdrive. That'll get you going.
If you've listened to all of this for this long, you deserve a discount code when you're shopping at RagnarokTactical.ca. Use the discount code Patriot at checkout. Literally take money out of my son's college tuition.
But then immediately go and use our Amazon affiliate link to help put.
Oh, that's right. If you're buying a book or if you're buying anything else on Amazon, use our affiliate.
Put some money
link.
back in.
That's right.
It all balance. It's all about balance.
It's all about balance. If you want to send feedback or Let us know if you're going to the truck rally, or let us know if you're reading a book, or if you disagree with our selection of things that were cool at SHOT Show. Send us your feedback. I want your hate mail. Feedback at CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. Let me know how you feel about things. I'm not picky. Anything will do.
Yeah.
I have to apologize to Rod. We couldn't get Rod Giltack on the show tonight. We made room for Peter, so Rod knows the deal. No new panelists, no Rod. There's too many new people at the same time. I get confused. We can't be having that.
Yeah, no, it's bad time.
For all of our listeners out there in podcast land, I would like to remind you